I'm here with the Gen Zer, and we're gonna be discussing Gen Z, the future of Gen Z, the next 10 years of Gen Z. Gen Zer, what do you do, man? Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, it's the Gen Zer, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to introduce to you guys, and I'm excited to talk about this next phase of life which we're about to experience. I'm very excited to have this conversation today. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, for sure. And I mean, um, the world is not looking good right now.
It's not,
It's not looking good for most people.
y-
Yeah.
it's definitely not looking good for Gen Z, and I'll say one of the main reasons. It's probably because Gen Z is ill-equipped to deal with the next phase of the world that we're about to experience. You see, um I've been reading Principle for a New World Order by Ray Dalio, and I'm not done with it yet, but within that book it simply states that there are cycles in history which have shown that there are periods of peace and then there's periods of conflict. And Gen Z was born towards the tail end of a great and prosperous period of peace. But they're not warriors, man. And I'm Gen Z. I'm the oldest Gen Z. We're not warriors, bro. We're kind of pussies, to be honest with you.
Right.
But I think we need to build some character. What do you think? What's your opinion of that?
Oh, well, I mean, to be quite honest with you, the next 10 years are looking good. They're not looking good for anybody, but Gen Z is gonna catch the worst part of it. You guys have no money. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be able to get no real estate. The job market is only gonna get worse. You have AI, the automation of the job market.
I mean, the no money argument though applies to millennials, wouldn't it? It applies to millennials as
Applies
well.
to both, man. You know what I'm saying? From a dating standpoint, you guys, you you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna have it easy in any aspect. You know what I'm saying?
And we'll get to the dating discussion, but for now, let's start with the economic discussion, right? So we know that within the next 10 years, the boomers are going to start dying off, and that's going to lead to the largest wealth transfer in human history, right? And most of that wealth is probably going to go towards millennials, right? And some Gen Z may benefit from it. Do you think that millennials are now going to shape the new world that we're about to go into?
To be honest with you, there's a divide in any generation, right? So with millennials, it's not really like that. You have a divide, right? There's some millennials that are getting money. Some of them got lucky with the housing market. They bought early before the interest rates went up, so they're gonna make money from that. Some of them are doing good with jobs right now, and then you have another group of millennials that don't have housing, they don't have real estate, they're still trying to save money to buy a house, they don't have much money saved up, right? So it's there's really a generational divide, right? So it's not all of them.
Give me a percentage though. Which percentage would fall into the first category you mentioned?
People that have money,
Yeah.
probably probably 20%. Some of them work in tech, some of them work in finance, some of them manage to blow up online, right? They're getting that influential money. And so it's mostly 20. It's the 80-20. It's mostly 20%, right? But then you have, I would say, 40% of millennials that are struggling financially right now.
Hmm.
And that's a big percentage, right? That's a lot. That's because millennials, that's a pretty large generation, 80 million people, right?
Right.
40% of them are struggling financially right now. That's a
Wow.
fact.
Wow. That's pretty much the Pareto principle in application there. 20% are doing well, and 80% are making up the rest of the pack. Yeah, I will say for Gen Z, I don't think it's that evenly split, right? And I think it's because Gen Z is still such a young generation. And the oldest members of Gen Z are around age 26, maybe 27, depending on how you analyze it. And members of Gen Z are now just starting to enter into the workforce and hit their stride, right? And they're just starting to make money. But the issue is there's still a large portion of Gen Z which hasn't really entered the workforce yet, or which is at a stage where it's still figuring out what the next chapter of their life is going to be. But I will say one thing Gen Z is doing, which is very positive in comparison to the millennials. There's a lot of Gen Zers out there opting not to go chase a basket weaving degree or a useless college degree, and instead they're choosing to focus on the trades. They're choosing to focus on building, their credentials either by getting certifications. So
Well, I mean, if you're talking from a career standpoint, Gen Z, a lot of them, yeah, a lot more of them are going in STEM, but then you still end up with the same issue, right? Diminishing returns. Like, so now STEM is getting saturated. So you have people getting degrees like computer science and all that, but they're still gonna face the same problem because now it's saturated. Their salaries is gonna go down, right? So Gen Z essentially, I would say, they do have it better slightly than millennials, but they're still gonna be facing the same stuff. So I would focus more on the macroeconomic aspect.
I mean, the macroeconomic aspect is always good, but just in terms of microeconomics, Gen Z is going into the trades a lot. I see a lot of Gen Zers saying, you know what, forget college, I'm going to go become a plumber. Or I have a friend of mine who's an HVAC technician. They get the training. They don't spend buku tons of money going to school to earn a degree. And they're instantly monetizable within the marketplace, within the job marketplace.
Yeah. So as far as that, that's a good move. Good move. But then again, real estate, James is gonna have to wait 10 years before they can buy a house, man. They're gonna have to wait 10 years before they can buy a house. As far as savings, housing is obviously more expensive. Rent is more expensive. Inflation. So every generation had something to deal with, right? With millennials, it was the Great Recession, the housing crisis, and then the unemployment issue after that. But now with Gen Z, it's inflation, right? So you have a lot of young people now that are finally living on their own, and they have to pay a lot more for food, for rent, for a lot of stuff, and that's what Gen Z has to deal with.
Right, and that's true, and I guess the only comparison in the only recent historical comparison Gen Z would probably be maybe the inflation in the 70s under President Carter. And I don't know if most Gen Zers are truly studious students of history as such. Now, let me ask you about one aspect of Gen Z, which I'm very curious to hear your opinion on this. What do you think of Gen Z's artistic vision? What do you think of Gen Z's artistic contribution so far in terms of music and arts and other art forms you're exposed to?
From a music standpoint, I don't really listen to Gen Z artists, to be honest.
You listen to Juice WRLD. That's Gen Z. That's Gen Z.
The only artists I know, Juice WRLD, maybe XXXTentacion.
Gen Z.
There's really nobody else.
Kodak.
Kodak is alright. You know what I mean? What's his name? Pop Smoke.
Pop Smoke was, I think he was going to be the next 50 Cent, in my opinion.
Yeah, so there's not many. Who else? Billie Eilish, I guess you would say.
And I'd say probably NBA Youngboy might be the biggest Gen Z rap artist. Well, from an impact and from a cultural impact standpoint, he has to be the largest. You don't understand. The Gen Z kids, you don't listen to him, but the Gen Z kids, they listen to him. Look at his streaming numbers, man.
Again, we're talking about talent.
Okay, that's true. We're talking about cultural impact.
But other than that, I don't see who else.
What about in terms of actors?
Actors? Young actors?
Gen Z actors.
Anybody you can think of?
Zendaya and Tom Holland.
Yeah, Tom Holland. Tom Holland is definitely a good actor. Spider-Man did a good job. But there's not many people you can think of, man.
There's
Acting,
from Gen Z specifically, no.
Star Wars, is it Gen Z?
Bodega. Yeah, he's Gen Z.
Well, I mean, you got better than music.
That's
There's a
true.
lot of good new actors on the scene. Like TV's actually doing well. There's a lot of still good TV shows.
The actor from Snowfall.
movies.
I don't know if he's Gen Z, but
Yeah. I think he's doing better than music.
oh, Lori Harvey. Well, she's not really a talent. I'm not saying she's talentless, but we don't know her for her talent. But she's more of a socialite.
I'm sure she has some talent, man. Behind the scenes, man. I'm sure she got some talent, man.
It's an evil world we live in.
I bet she got some talent, dog.
Hey man, she has her talent.
On the screen though, we ain't seen her.
Yeah, I mean, she.
What this future say? Just Steve Harvey, I don't want her, man. Hey, behind the scenes though.
Listen, I mean, she's the socialite for for Gen Z, and she's influencing a lot of girls to follow her lifestyle.
She took the opposite route. So she's more behind the scenes.
She's taking the Kim K. She's taking a less sluttier Kim K route, though.
Yeah, she took the behind the scenes.
She's taking the elitist route. She's rubbing shoulders with.
Pookie and Ray Ray, man.
But elite Pookie and Ray Ray's. That's the same people whom Kim Kardashian was rubbing shoulders with until now. She's graduated to a level where she's representing. She's involved in legal causes now and helping free people. She's trying to be an attorney.
You know what she do. We know what she doing.
But
she had Pete Davidson.